What is up, guys? Doing another one down solo. Today I'm doing Go Bank. Only instead of doing my pretty average builds, I am instead opting to go for a build centered around just not going down, period. So I'm going to be changing my loadout a little bit, and of course my skills are going to be quite a bit different. So, for this run in particular, of course I wanted to have drill skills and some other various things. Drill skills being, the primary thing. Of course, I have uppers aced with my first aid kits so that I can kind of cushion myself in case I get caught off guard. Thankfully, both of the little half walls spawned in front of the vault, which provides excellent cover. I accidentally got a crit on that guy. Well, I mean, I can't really accidentally get a crit, I guess, but I ended up getting a crit. Notice that I didn't get the ladder spawn, but I went ahead and put the first aid kit down there kind of as an accident before I even bothered to look for the ladder. The ladder is usually there, so just kind of scattering first aid kits in places that I knew I'd be traveling through and that I'd have to be stopping at momentarily, probably. So, if you notice, I'm by my throwable down in the lower right hand corner. I am using the new Sicario perk deck. Sicario is a really interesting perk deck in the sense that it has a lot of utility in a lot of different ways. Not sure if it's going to get changed at all in the near future or not. A lot of people seem to think that it will. I'm not quite sure. I think a lot of people have not really the wrong idea, but kind of a strange idea. No, not really strange. Anyway, I'll just give my views on the deck while I'm talking about the run as well, seeing as how, most of this run's going to be waiting on the drill to finish. So, I'm going to be using the China Puff to just keep enemies out of this little area, to keep them from getting overrun, and of course using the Car 4 as my killing tool to kill special enemies and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and throw down the smoke here so I can get effectively 100% dodge chance when I'm standing in the middle of the smoke. Shield didn't take any damage there for whatever reason. I was a bit bummed about that. Cost me my first aid kit there. It's alright. So anyway, the interesting thing about Sicario, it gives you bonus dodge chance, of course. Like if I think the base dodge chance that you get to without any skills is going to be about 25. Yeah, it's like a 25% dodge chance with Sneaky Bastard. And, the appropriate detection rating and so forth, you will have 35 dodge, which isn't terrible. I think that's right on par, or even a little bit better than the Hitman, or not Hitman, I'm sorry, than the Ex-President perk deck. And so, even though Ex-President does provide you with some health regen, the benefits that this perk deck gives you are pretty awesome. So as a trade-off for having lower dodge, you pick up some other interesting abilities. You gain a smoke bomb that while you're standing in the middle of it, you essentially get your dodge, you get extra 50% dodge chance, and then you get an extra 100% of the abilities of your perk deck added, or like basically your perk deck effects are doubled when you're standing in the smoke. It also affects your teammates to some degree, but of course I'm not going to talk about that much since I'm not playing with teammates here, but your teammates also do get some small boosts and things. Enemies also suffer an accuracy debuff whenever they are in the smoke. So not only can you use the smoke on yourself to cover yourself and get a higher dodge chance, but you can also throw it at a faraway group of enemies to cause them to have a lower accuracy rating, which can actually be pretty beneficial considering how aimbot-ish the enemies on one down can be. Probably the most interesting thing about the perk deck, though, and I don't really know if this is what many people think is the, not necessarily most busted, but probably one of the greater parts about it, is the fact that when you successfully dodge, well, kind of two things actually. When you dodge a bullet, you get a 20% extra chance to dodge the next bullet that hits you. So, if a bullet hits you, then up until you dodge your next shot, you have if you had 35% dodge, then you would have a 55% chance to dodge until you dodge your next bullet. So that's kind of a flickering percentage there. So it's kind of hard for that to be extremely reliable. But you can basically say at almost any instant that you have a 35 to 55% dodge chance. You know, you have to account for other dodge skills as well, such as duck and cover ace and things like that. But for the most part, your getting hit actually isn't that bad because it boosts your dodge rating. What it also does, when you do successfully dodge an enemy attack, you end up regenning your armor instantaneously. That, to me, is one of the most incredible things about this perk deck, so that when you successfully dodge an attack, instead of, as in the case with Rogue, instead of losing, you know, because suppression still happens when you dodge attacks, like when you're using Rogue or any other perk deck that is centered around dodge. When you dodge an attack, you won't regen your armor under normal circumstances because you're still under the effect of suppression, the in-game mechanic, which of course prevents you from regenning your armor. However, with the Sicario perk deck, you actually will end up regenning your armor, and in fact you'll do it instantaneously. So if you got shot and your armor was busted, and then you dodged the next shot that would hit you, you'd get your armor back. And then if you just got decently lucky and washed, rinse, repeated that several times in a row, of course, you know, the probability of this happening multiple times in a row decreases as time goes on. You know, just the odds of it happening over and over and over and over and over again in perfect circumstances is pretty low. But effectively, you get some insane armor gating alongside with dodge, which is what I think is one of the strongest things about this perk deck, and something that makes it so incredibly interesting. Even though your dodge chance on a general basis is typically lower, you also get the added effect of having really nice armor gating, and you also get kind of a panic button in the form of your smoke bomb. A lot of people have called this kind of the dodge version of Kingpin, which is sort of true and kind of not true. I guess it's comparable in the sense that your grenades or that your throwable is replaced. However, the Kingpin injector activates instantaneously, and you can definitely use that as a intense panic button. Just, oh crap, hit it as you're getting hit, and if you manage to, you know, hit it in time, you can just prevent yourself from going down in a lot of circumstances, unless you're like a dozer is right on top of you, in which case they'll usually one-shot you even with the injector activated. But Sicario, you can use it in very tactful ways, which I like a lot. I think the smoke bomb mechanic is really nice because it's not just a you thing, you can also use it to help your teammates. I mean, you can use it with Kingpin as well, you can do that. So, accidentally hit the hitbox, or the collision box of the thing there. Threw out my smoke bomb so I could run out and pick up this ammo. Another thing I really like about it is, in that sense, it's almost like the injector because you can throw it 2 places. But in certain instances, the injector with Kingpin is a bit preferable, like I said, in certain circumstances. Like maybe you're running out in a group of enemies and you just need that instantaneous invulnerability as soon as you get shot, and you don't want to blow it before you know you have to. And sometimes you have to make that judgment call with Sicario, like, okay, am I going to go ahead and throw this to cover myself, or am I going to save it until I get to the next area of cover, and so on and so forth. That's pretty my general thoughts on the perk deck. I'd definitely say currently it's in the top 4 or 5 perk decks to use for 1 down, along with Armorer, Rogue, Kingpin, and Anarchist. Some people have made the case that they think in its current state the perk deck is kind of busted. Honestly, I really don't think so. I still found it really easy to go down with this perk deck. Of course not when you're using the smoke bomb, but I mean the same can be said for when you're using Kingpin and you turn on the injector. Because I have went down inside the smoke. I definitely have. It's not like an impossible. It's just that the likelihood is highly decreased while you're doing it. Got meleeed to the wall there. That's a bit aggravating. But, you know, I definitely don't think this perk deck is completely busted or overpowered or anything like that. Even in the terms of its armor gating, because Anarchist has continual armor gating, and you can use that with, you know, either Suit or ICTV or anything like that. Another good thing about this perk deck is you likewise can use it with multiple armor types. I really like how, you know, whether it's by design or, excuse me, I would like to assume it's by design, that Overkill has chosen to make these perk decks, the 2 most recent ones, Kingpin and Sicario, you know, you're able to use these with various armors. You can use it with ICTV, either of them. You can use either of them with suit, and you can effectively be just fine and just as strong as any of the others, which is something I really, really like about it. I also liked Sicario in the sense that anytime a dozer was on top of me, I couldn't take it as pretty much a guaranteed down unless I killed the dozer before it shot me. That was one issue I was having. Been kind of on a little bit of a break. Have finals coming up at university, and I've just been extremely busy, so I haven't really had time to do many runs. But I have been kind of attempting this with Kingpin, and my biggest issue is I'm generally fine, but then the thing that would kill the no downs run would of course be a dozer would charge me, and then even with my injector on, he would just boop, kill me. And so it would just basically be a moment of me getting caught with my pants down around a dozer, and that would be the end of it. I definitely want to do some no downs runs with Kingpin, though, because it's, like I said, it's definitely doable. However, I just wanted to play around with this perk deck a bit too. Definitely a big fan of it, but I don't think any of its mechanics are so ridiculous that it's, you know, quote-unquote broken. I go ahead and I take the bag back here because I want to carry the bag so the enemies don't take it. Of course, you have to carry the initial bag, or you have to carry in one bag, secure it, so that you can complete the mission. And I didn't want enemies to steal it on the roof while I was waiting down here, and I wasn't going to sit on the roof and try to protect it. So I just came back to the vault, held on to the money bag, and drug it with me through the sewers. I know Overkill is planning on adding another character in the near future, whose name I believe will be August. That is the character who won the MUI Paper Heister contest during the Search for Kento event that we had several weeks ago. So I know that that Heister will be added in at some point in the near future. And going solely off of how these most recent two perk decks have been, I'm really looking forward to what kind of interesting perk deck that they're going to come out with August. I've heard some people kind of talk about, well, maybe they're going to do another stealth-oriented perk deck, or maybe it'll be some sort of dodge-oriented perk deck, or, you know, nobody knows, of course, at this point. Only the future will be able to tell us. Sicario, of course, or not Sicario, Sangres, came as a complete surprise, pretty much to the entire community. No, absolutely no, I definitely wasn't expecting it. I don't know if anybody else was or not, but also I'm a fan of the Akimbo revolvers that we got because of it, and just the revolver in general is pretty fun. But overall, this heist was really just lots of waiting for the drill to finish and, you know, choosing when to move my bags carefully. There weren't any real tricks. I actually did have a run where the safe was open the very first, like as soon as I spawned in, the safe was open, and I was like, oh, I just got this one for free, but I ended up getting swarmed by a dozer at some point, and killed me, because that was when I was doing a Kingpin run, so I was pretty sad about that, and I was like, really? Just, all it takes is one dozer. So, I think, to be entirely honest, I don't think the no-downs runs were all that much more difficult than my regular one-down runs, simply because you have the first aid kits to kind of cushion your downs. Smoke bomb kind of got caught on the body there. This is one of the instances I was talking about earlier, in reference to when Kingpin would actually be preferable. Because see, for this part, I would just throw the bag, run out. As soon as I get shot, I would turn on Kingpin, and, you know, would basically do the exact same thing I'm doing right now, except there'd be less dodge and random chance involved. It was an extremely risky maneuver on my part, and I definitely could have lost the run right there, and I was very conscious of that as I was doing it. I was like, I could be throwing away the run right now. I was like, whatever, I'm going to do it to look cool and to see if doing this is a viable strategy, and it definitely was. Kind of undershot my grenade there for a second. Went ahead and threw down my first aid kit because I was on the edge of the smoke, so I didn't know where the buff, like where the area of effect was on the smoke, if it also extends to the edges of the smoke or if you have to be effectively more towards the center, so I didn't want to risk it.
They say crap rolls downhill, but here it flows everywhere. This is a goddamn maze. Drop your weapon. Hands up and they're home.
Didn't really have a general strategy for going through the maze, like no specific path. I was just kind of like, I'm gonna go left, I'm gonna go right. I did try to follow the enemy spawns though. I generally took that as a good sign. I went ahead and put my first aid kit down right there, of course, just in case someone snuck around the corner while I was picking the lock. I didn't want to get two shot before I could turn around and start combating them. Of course, the exit was directly in front of me, so I was pretty happy about that. It was essentially home free at this point, although I knew enemies typically did spawn around the escape, so I was prepared to deal with that if need be. There were.
I blew the shield's brains out. Shield is dead.
That's all there was to it.
Payday, motherfuckers.
Alright, that was Go Bank 1 down solo with no downs. Take a quick look at my stats right here.
Let's use them again sometime.
Alright, and as usual, thank you guys so much for watching.